Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Now, I spoke the other day of the growing humanitarian crisis in Zimbabwe, and we're talking about starvation, where apparently the people are now being forced to try and catch rats for food. I think rats are the only animal left in Zimbabwe. Now, what's happening in Zimbabwe? Well, the country is in chaos politically as well. The country's military is reportedly preparing to declare martial law in the event of planned opposition protests becoming violent insurrections and grinding the nation to the halt, Spotlight Zimbabwe can exclusively reveal. Martial law is an extreme and rare measure used by military authorities to control society during war or periods of civil unrest or chaos. The unprecedented move by the army, according to intelligence sources in defense, has allegedly been agreed upon by the Joint Operations Command, or JOC, and is meant to avoid the risk of civilians being killed by the dreaded National Reaction Force, or NRF, which comprises officers from various security units to avert possibilities of foreign military intervention. An army faction aligned to Vice President retired General Constantino Chiwenga is also understood to be considering the martial law route as an alternative way to crash President Emmerson Mnangagwa's rule outside an already planned subtle coup named Operation Restore Economy, whose report we were the first to publish in May. Now, remember when I talked about this back in May, people said, it's not happening. Well, it appears to be happening. And obviously a lot of Zimbabweans are not happy with what that government is doing. JOC is a shadowy quasi-military organ, bringing together the country's military security complex, which includes the Army and its military intelligence wing and Presidential Guard, Air Force, police, prisons, and the Central Intelligence Organization, or CIO, to manage homeland and foreign security affairs. NRF was involved in the shock August 2018 and January 2019 army killings, which left a swathe of terror and at least 17 extrajudicial killings, 16 rapes, 26 abductions, and more than 600 assaults, according to the Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum. The army also deployed tanks on the streets in 1998, in which was the first civilian protest bloodshed, killing 10 people during mass riots staged by Zimbabweans, triggered by a wave of price escalations and extortion taxes. Former Army General Anselm Sanyatwe, who was NRF tactical commander and former Presidential Guard commander, denied that the army was responsible for the August 2018 killings when he appeared before the Motlanthe Commission of Inquiry. Last week, the United States placed Sanyatwe and his wife on its sanction list for the killings. The couple are now barred from traveling to America. We are on the very verge of a very dark chapter in our nation's history, said the Defense Ministry sources. The Joint Operations Command met recently, and they have agreed to declare martial law to deal with the opposition's planned series of violent insurrections. They have gathered intel on intentions to bring anarchy to the country and render it ungovernable by the MDC alliance, which will seek to provoke our forces into using full force, thereby calling for foreign military intervention in Zimbabwe through United Nations peacekeeping forces. Our security apparatus has no choice but to preempt the scenario by bringing sanity to the crisis that might arise. Another senior army officer, with details of the martial law plan, said the plot was bigger and could be used by a faction loyal to the vice president as a pretext to smoothly concurrently remove Mnangagwa from power, especially if the declaration is indefinite. If the JOC, and not the president, who declare martial law, therefore he loses his governing powers, especially if the declaration is independent, said the officer. JOC is a real power, and it is run by the Vice President's loyalists. It is the JOC that has put the President in power, and he has no say other than symbolic executive authority on paper. His rivals are plotting to smoothly ease him out of power through this route. Citizens must be prepared for military checkpoints and military-enforced curfews, banning people from moving out of designated areas or even leaving their homes during certain times. This is not some game or fiction. It is what you journalists call the end game, and it is upon us. There will be a new government in Harare if the Vice President's faction has its way. You know what this is starting to sound like? It's starting to sound like the ANC, which is so terribly fractured. But I guess they're kind of a little bit more civil than, what's happening in Zimbabwe. A diplomatic source in South Africa's capital, where Chiwenga was staying and receiving medical attention before recently being flown to China for further expert treatment, said Chiwenga's Fantastic Four had reportedly been consulted about the operational matters concerning mooted martial law in Zimbabwe. The Fantastic Four refers to retired Lieutenant Generals Martin Chidondo, Douglas Nyikarama, Anselm Sanyatwe, and Air Vice Marshal Sheba Shambayande. The quartet was removed from their posts in February and promoted to diplomatic service, while Chiwenga was absent in India for treatment, resulting in speculation that Mnangagwa was taking advantage of Chiwenga's absence to coup-proof himself by purging the Vice President's close allies in the armed forces, all who had played a key role in the ouster of former leader Robert Mugabe in November 2017. It is something we have caught wind of from this side of the Limpopo martial law declaration plan in Zimbabwe, said the envoy who had previously served in Harare a few years ago. Although the Vice President of Zimbabwe's Fantastic Four have been deployed on diplomatic service, they can be recalled to assume command in times of crisis, and we hear that they were consulted about the operational matters of mooted martial law by the JOC. These generals still wield influence in the military and are involved in national security affairs, which they report to the Vice President. Yes, he's in China and unwell, but the Zimbabwe military has exclusive confidential channels of communication with him, and him alone inside your presidium. Something seismic is about to happen in your country, no doubt. A leaked audio recording with the voice of the First Lady, Auxilia Mnangagwa, went viral on social media in mid-July, has also raised alarm that Mnangagwa's rift with the army has widened and that his beleaguered administration is increased jeopardy of a military putsch. So, it looks like Zim might have a military coup in the near future. Anyway, we'll watch that with interest. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bell for the updates, and please click the like button and have a safe day. Bye for now.